matter what you call it,
The Metro.
It's gonna get you around.
Gonna ride the Metro.
Yes.
That's the way this sounds.
Yeah.
Is that more how they do it in London? The Metro.
Yeah, and then the L in Chicago, the Metro.
Yeah.
Let's jump on the Metro.
You feel
like
better
it.
doing it. I
Yes.
think it'll work. All right, well, let's look outside at our roads for the flakes. Nothing really heavy, but it is enough where it could lay a dusting, and that can be enough to mess up the morning commute. So be prepared. Getting out the door a little early, not a bad idea. Here's a view of the crosstown at 494. Again, you can see flakes flying here and there, and those roads looking a little wet. And now, a few days ago, we had wet roads out there, but it was just above freezing. Nothing was freezing over. That really helped us. Today, not so much. They're still impacting light rail riders. This stretch closed Sunday night after they started repairs on a pedestrian bridge. So once again, not in service. We'll let you know as soon as we think we'll be getting that back open. Let's talk more about how the weather may be impacting you. Good morning to all of you. Happy Friday. Well, because of the flurries that will be popping in and out of our morning commute, we are already seeing some slowdowns, nothing major, but traffic trying to build and not doing so at quite the pace we would normally see at 552. We're looking at 35W at 42nd Street. We do see northbound and southbound traffic building here. The northbound heading toward downtown Minneapolis. And if you look the far right part of your screen, you can see some flashing lights. It looks like maybe some police activity. Saw that car just go flying up north of here and then stopping. No information on what exactly is going on there, but it could result in some more slowdown, so be prepared for that. We are seeing even some flakes flying up in the Roseville, Little Canada area, 36 and 35E. At this junction, you can see the moisture on the roads here, and because we're not quite above freezing, some of that could freeze over, creating slick conditions. So getting out the door a little early this morning, not a bad idea. We do tend to have lighter traffic on Fridays, yes, but with the weather conditions as they are, you can probably assume you're going to have some slowdowns as you're traveling. Checking out 94 and 65, this is a good view of how our road conditions are looking. You can see some of those ramps, some of those major highways and interstates, and you're seeing a lot of moisture now, especially on those ramps and bridge decks where you have the opportunity for some breeze to pass underneath it. Those tend to freeze a little bit easier than the major highways and inlets. I'll let you know how things are looking on Hiawatha Avenue. Looks like another day of closures for those of you trying to travel that way. All right, Jason, Don, back over to you guys.
Thank you, Kelsey.
We're looking outside at our roadways, and we can see the moisture that has been a result of some of those flakes in a few spots. This is a peak up on 169 near County Road 81 in the Brooklyn Park, Champlin Park area. And take a look, you can see those wet roadways, and until we warm up, which we're not going to be doing today, we have the chance for some freezing over, and that could provide the opportunity for slick spots and some crashes. Right now, no crashes being worked on, so no areas you need to avoid, but I am noticing that it looks like more people maybe headed out a little bit earlier than usual, and on a Friday we do tend to see lighter traffic days, and today it looks pretty busy out there. This is 35W 42nd Street. About 15 minutes ago I showed you this view, and we saw some flashing lights here in the far part of our screen. That was just MnDOT out there salting and blading the min-pass lanes before those opened up this morning. So now it looks like they have cleared the northbound and southbound traffic, continuing to build. As we point out, Hiawatha Avenue, that stretch between Lake Street and 26th Street, still remains closed as engineers try and make sure that the bridge that goes over it is still okay. That's the Sable Bridge built in 2007. It sounds like they've removed the two cords that had snapped and maybe had been compromised, and they now have a support system underneath that to protect it. So hopefully we'll get that open very soon. All right, Tom, back over to you.
Yeah, let's hope so. All right, thank you.
Back to this Friday edition of the Fox 9 Morning News. We made it to the end of our work week.
I see the flurries.
He's an eyewitness to the flurries. That is why he is our weather guy, because he knows weather. This is snow. He is correct. And it is coming down on our roadways here right in the Twin Cities. It's going to be spotty here and there. Right now we're looking at a 94 McKnight Road. So as you're passing through the Maplewood area heading into downtown St. Paul, you may see some slowdowns as a result of this. But these cars cruising right along without any trouble. But we are laying some moisture down on the roadways. And because we are below freezing, there is a risk for all of that to get very slippery. So just be prepared. So far, no major slowdowns to Twin Cities. We are still seeing quite a bit of green, even though we do have those weather conditions in place. Now it is Friday, so that tends to be a lighter traffic day, so that'll help us a little bit. But as we get closer to 7 o'clock, expect the slowdowns to begin. Hiawatha Avenue still closed today between Lake Street and 26th Street. We'll let you know as soon as we know that's going to open. But so far, ashes of snow over in Maplewood. This is a look at 94 McKnight Road. You can see those flakes coming down, but despite that, and despite what you're seeing as some wet road conditions throughout the Twin Cities, really very few crashes so far this morning. Now it is Friday, which does tend to be a lighter traffic day, but if you want to be safe, maybe a good idea to get out the door just a little bit early, just in case you end up in some jammed up traffic, especially as we get closer to the 7 o'clock hour. But right now, traffic flowing along. The moisture on the roads does have a revenue between Lake Street and 26th Street, still impacting light rail riders as well. Looking to our southern suburbs, though, still fairly quiet. 494 in the crosstown getting busier, and with the weather conditions, I think we will see some heavier traffic than normal. 94 quarter tends to be easier going on a Friday, and so far we're moving it close to the posted speed until you get right to that Maple Grove interchange where 494 and 94 branch off from one another. I'll keep watching that throughout the morning, see if things get a little bit more bunched up because of those flurries that come in and out throughout the day. Checking out the east side, looking pretty good, and the overall picture is the weather will play a role, but so far, pretty mild as far as any trouble goes. I'll be updating you throughout the morning. All right, guys, back over to you.
Thank you, Kelsey. It is 6.
Junction near 35W and Highway 280 as you are watching live as the last part of that emergency situation pulling away. It looked like maybe we had a stalled vehicle on the side of the road. I thought at first maybe the vehicle had spun out because you can tell there is some moisture out on the roadways. You can see the snowflakes coming down and we're still below the freezing mark. So the risk for the slip is out there. Something to think about as you're heading out the door, but so far we're not seeing any majorly reduced speeds really anywhere you look. But we are seeing those flurries coming through. You can catch a few here and there in the street light near 94 and McKnight Road. This is in the Maplewood area. We found stretch between Rogers and Maple Grove looking good as you push southbound on 494. That's still moving at 55 to 60 miles per hour. We did have some slowdowns earlier this morning. 94 westbound near Zane Avenue. There's a stalled vehicle that remains on the side of the road, but it looks like the initial slowdowns has actually started to pick up the pace. So looking over to the northeast, even 35W southbound flowing along nicely, those southern suburbs cruising right along. So even though we have those weather conditions really to deal with, because it's a Friday, that could be helping. We tend to have lighter traffic on Fridays, but overall maybe we just got used to that winter driving. Something we're probably not used to though yet is that stretch of Hiawatha Avenue between Lake Street and 26th Street still closed. Still no word when they'll finish those bridge repairs so we can get that back open, but of course we will let you know when that does happen. All right, Tom, Alex, over to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kelsey.
Morning news. Happy Friday to you. We have pretty easygoing driving out on our roadways, especially considering the fact we have some flurries here and there and the chance for some slick spots because we're still below freezing and there's plenty of moisture on the roadways. Right now we're looking at 494, 35E in Egan. We had a crash reported on the southbound side of traffic blocking people's ability to get right through that lane, but as you can see, the traffic itself moving along okay, and at this hour the heavier traffic tends that also impacts those light rail riders. That will continue on until we get the word that it's opening back up. Engineers trying to get the compromised cable support cords out of the way and getting some new ones in place. Looking to the north side of town, 94 westbound near Zane Avenue, we still have a stalled vehicle, but looking good, looking green. It's nice to see that. It is Friday. Sometimes we catch a break on Fridays. Southern suburbs still flowing along at close to the posted speed unless you come along that Highway 55 path or right here at 494 and 35E. Now, for those of you who may be traveling for the weekend doing the air traffic thing, keep in mind due to weather, we have some delays into Chicago, in Atlanta, and in New York and Philadelphia, so check those flights if you're taking a weekend trip. All right, Emmy Roscoe's helping us forget about the snow by golfing, but she's doing it in an unusual place. Emma talking about, and well, they're falling in different areas, and some of those we have seen a few crashes. Not necessarily a correlation, but considering we have those moist roads out there and we're still below freezing, definitely prepares the roads for some slick conditions. So here, 94 Riverside Avenue, westbound traffic slowing down because just west of here, we do have a crash. It's pulled over to the right shoulder, not blocking lanes of traffic, but it's enough to get that downtown traffic really jammed up. Looking now to 36 and Dale Street. This is up in the Roseville area. You see the flakes flying here. The flurries been slowing traffic in this region for about the last 30 minutes, and we see westbound traffic, which is already heavy between 35E and 35W typically on a Friday morning, and today even slower due to the flurries. We do tend to sometimes see lighter traffic on Fridays, and today sort of the weather minus the fewer drivers on the roadway, putting it all into account, basically shake it all up, and what you get is more of a typical traffic day than anything else. Here's 94 and Highway 120 again. Flurries flying here in both directions of 94. Traffic seems to be flowing along at close to the posted speed. A crash reported though on Highway 120 just south of 94. Actually a lot better than normal. I think that's because of the whole Friday factor. Looking a little bit farther east though, we have heavy traffic on 694. Southern suburbs, 494 in the crosstown definitely has some slow moments. High congestion there. And again, Hiawatha Avenue still closed between Lake Street and 26th Street. We'll let you know as soon as we learn when that's going to open, but so far MnDOT has not informed anyone of that yet. Still working on it, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Kelsey.
Friday to you. A few big factors out on our roadways today for those of you who have to make the morning commute. One of those being what we always enjoy is that on Fridays we tend to have fewer drivers out on the roadway, so it's usually an easier going traffic day, but we have the weather to deal with. I'm looking around, it's really just the east side of town. As Keith has been talking about, that's where most of the flurries are coming. Here's a view as you're heading northbound into St. Paul. 52 at Plato Boulevard, you see the flurries flying and the speeds reduce. Now coming from the north side of St. Paul, also those flakes are flying and you see the southbound traffic slowing down. And at 7:55, we typically start to see this traffic starting to loosen up. Not the case today. But then again, you look a little farther west, driving conditions look great. This is 169.55, sort of in that Golden Valley, Plymouth area. We see traffic flowing along at the posted speed. And those of you who travel 169 know it's quite finicky when it comes to weather, very reactive to whatever the conditions may be. But over here, even 494 is still pushing right along at the posted speed. Over to the northeast, though, that's where we have some of our heavier jam ups. 694, 36 westbound, a lot of snow flying here in Roseville. 94 westbound, a bit of a slowdown as you approach Cedar Avenue where we had a stalled vehicle because it ran out of gas. I know gas prices are going up, but we got to keep the cars moving. Going a little farther south, looking pretty good except 494 crosstown still active at this hour in Hiawatha Avenue. That stretch still closed between Lake Street and 26th Street. That's still impacting light rail riders as well. Hopefully that gets open soon. We'll let you know when we know when. We're taking a quick break.
Yeah, both cars paid for. We have that going right now. Not for long.
No, never last long.
Because the one is 10 years old. So it's getting there.
A few years,
It's
yeah.
getting there.
All right, well, good morning, guys.
Kelsey.
Hi.
So the roads today are snowy, but we're moving along okay. I think it's because it's Friday. Look outside our northern side of town. Some of the slowdowns still, as I mentioned, on the east side, 694, 36 westbound. Quite a few flurries in all the cameras in the Roseville area. That stretch between the two downtowns continuing to improve. There was a stalled vehicle just west of 280 near Cedar Avenue. There was a car that ran out of gas, finally has been towed away. Looking a little farther south, 494 westbound, still heavy traffic between Cedar Avenue and 35W. The crosstown, heaviest traffic there, westbound between 55 and 35W. Now the stretch of 55 or Hiawatha Avenue that many of you have been watching and waiting to open back up still unfortunately has not. It's that stretch between Lake Street and 26th Street that closed Sunday night after someone discovered that a couple of the cable cords that support that bridge may have been compromised. Not exactly sure how that all happened or when it will finally be back open, but again today for commuters, know that is not an option for you, and light rail riders will still be using those substitute buses. But gosh, aren't we thankful that snow isn't doing more damage out there? Let's hear more about how the flurries will be affecting us, I guess, throughout the day. Despite the fact we do have some flurries in the metro area, like you're seeing here in St. Paul at Highway 52 and Plato Boulevard. Even so, we're not seeing a lot of major slowdowns. We haven't throughout the morning. What's helping us a bit is the fact that it's Friday, and that tends to be a lighter congestion day anyway. But as you can see, some people putting on the brakes just a bit, not a bad idea, especially since we still have some moisture out on the roadways from melt-off in previous days, and now we're below freezing, and there's always the risk that that could refreeze and cause some slick conditions. But so far, we're doing okay, and, well, there are a few crashes out there, but not here in St. Paul where we're seeing the snow. This is a view from 35E and Grand Avenue. One of those crashes just occurring is in Minnetonka, 394 in the eastbound direction as you're trying to get onto Hopkins Crossroads, or just coming off of Hopkins Crossroads. It looks like a vehicle did spin out, so that indicates we may have a slippery condition there. We also have a crash, another quiet throughout the morning. Roseville, though, still active, although we're not seeing quite as bad the reduced speeds anymore, but still some flurries flying. The South Metro, 494 in the crosstown, still the busiest. And of course, 55, we want to keep our eye on Hiawatha Avenue because the stretch that is still closed due to repairs to that footbridge over Hiawatha Avenue, and that is still closed between Lake Street and 26th Street and still impacting light rail riders. If you're flying today, check your schedules. We have some weather issues in Chicago, making things a little messy. All right, that's it from traffic. Guys, back over to you.
I see a silhouette, you my Julia. I wanna be